in the brush pile. Let's bring in Alex Smith. She's executive director of America Rising. Hello, Alex. How was my impersonation of Bobby Boucher?
I liked it. It was quite the sound for a Yankee girl like myself.
Well, that's right. You're a Seton Hall grad. Are you law school there?
That's right. Yes, I graduated from law school from Seton Hall, which is all the way up in Newark, New Jersey.
I know where that is. Do you follow college basketball at all?
I do. Hoping for a good season this year.
Then you know that your coach used to be here, Kevin Willard.
Oh, that's right. You're right about that.
That's exactly right. So was his dad. They're both good. They're good guys. So anyway, your basketball team's in good hands. All right, Alex, I was bringing you on here. You, as executive director of America Rising, you're also a contributor to The Hill. You've won lots of awards in your lifetime as a conservative, and I just wanted to bring you in and get your perspective on the potential for a government shutdown.
Well, hopefully, when we have this conversation in 24 hours, we're not talking about a government that was shut down, but rather a crisis that was averted. And, I think that President Trump is really working hard to make sure that it doesn't happen. He's working hard with congressional leaders. I mean, you saw he even extended a hand to Chuck Schumer today. I mean, Chuck Schumer's been the one that's been, he's been the ringleader of all of this. He's been stopping any progress from really getting done. And so, I thought that it was magnanimous that the president reached out to Chuck Schumer, that I think he's really working the phone, trying to make sure that, the Republicans, plus a few Senate Democrats, can get to 60 votes and avoid this shutdown.
Do you think that Chuck Schumer, some are calling this the Schumer shutdown, do you think that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats will be pinned with this, or will the blame be spread equally if there's a shutdown?
Well, so actually a CNN poll that came out today does show the American people are going to place the blame squarely on the Democrats for this. Because, look, at the end of the day, yes, I mean, people keep pointing out that the Democrats like to trumpet the fact that we have the White House, we have both houses of Congress. How could we let this happen? Well, they like to conveniently forget that we need 60 votes in the Senate, not the 50 that we have, 51 including the vice president. So, we really did need some of our Senate Democratic friends to cross the aisle here, and there were plenty that have a good reason to do so. So we've seen already two that have crossed over. That's Senator Joe Manchin, Senator Joe Donnelly of Indiana. Those two senators are playing this smart. Why? Because they come from states that the president won in 2016, and they're up for re-election.
You bet. That's the important part. Point two was the more important one, is that they're up for election this fall, and they don't want this hanging on them in case this becomes a prolonged stalemate.
Yeah, who wants to bear the cross of not reauthorizing CHIP, a program that funds the health care of millions of kids throughout the country, and also, who wants to be responsible for our hardworking and brave men and women in the armed forces working without pay?
Many people are very cynical, and they're saying that the Republicans are using the children's health program that they're suddenly all concerned about, where they weren't before. They let it expire before, and now suddenly they're concerned about the 8.9 million recipients in the CHIP program versus 690,000 people involved in the DACA dilemma.
So I might otherwise be inclined to be suspicious on that too, except for the fact that it's not just a temporary extension that we're seeing with CHIP that Republicans have offered. They're offering a 6-year extension. I think that in terms of negotiating in good faith, the Republicans really came to the table with something that Democrats would want. The Democrats, on the other hand, said from the very beginning, because they were pressured by these liberal activist groups, to make DACA the sticking point in these negotiations. So, they're really holding the entire government hostage over DACA when it's completely unnecessary to do so, considering that the deadline for DACA is March 9th, and the deadline for funding the government is
midnight.
Just over 6 hours.
Yeah.
So, this is where they become unreasonable. So I don't think that the Republicans are using CHIP as a bargaining chip, no pun intended. I think that they're really looking to give the Democrats something and looking to get a little in return.
All right, what's your guess before midnight? It's 6 hours and 19 minutes.
Gosh, you know what? I think that the Democrats have to be seeing some of these polls. The fact that we've already seen Joe Donnelly come over today, as well as Joe Manchin, I would anticipate that we have some Democratic lawmakers that really, when push comes to shove, they're going to start to feel the pressure from their constituents to keep this government open and to work with President Trump.
All right, here's what Senator Lindsey Graham said a little while ago.
Negotiations are complicated. These are emotional issues. But I think we're inside the 10-yard line, and we can't get there without the president. And I hope he gets us into the end zone.
Okay, so if you're in the red zone, being on the 2-yard line does not get the job done. You think they're in the end zone before midnight?
I sure hope so. But, the one thing that Senator Graham said that struck me was that, the president really needs to be the winning quarterback here. And I think that you can see his success rate when it comes to tax reform. If you remember back in the fall, there were all these naysayers saying that Republicans couldn't get tax reform done, that the caucus would be divided. But then President Trump went to the Hill. He really started to reach out to lawmakers, and we saw things turn around.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm out of time on this one, Alex, but I appreciate your input as always.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Okay, Alex Smith, Executive Director, America Rising.
News Radio 840 WHAS.